Hello and welcome to another episode of my series with Kyah Donald. As you know, Kyah has gone from mentee to leader, and I met Kyah when she was in the 7th grade. And this conversation today is something that isn't talked about a lot. We don't hear people talking about this. We're talking about how do you create a program? A lot of people who play sports, who work in sports, a lot of people who play sports see a need and they want to create some type of program to help the kids or to help young people or to help students in college. There's a lot of people who want to create it, but no one ever talks about how to create it. So Kyah and I have had tons of experience creating programs. So today we're going to give you the blueprint on how you can create a program for your community. Kyah, how are you today?
Good. I'm excited about this conversation. As a young person, we see a need, at least my type of young person that I am and leader, I see a need and I'm like, how can I make that better? How can I change it? So I'm excited to help share about the things that, I've been through and how others can do it too. So and I'm also excited to hear from you because you've done a lot in your day and I know you impacted so many people. So I'm excited to hear about your stories too.
All right. Yeah, we've done some things, and there's this ripple effect that happens when you create programs. It's one thing for me or Kyah to do something as an individual, which is very valuable. But when you talk about legacy and when you talk about being able to have an even greater impact, if you can create something with structure, it then gives more people an opportunity to be involved and it gives you the ability to impact others. So we're going to talk about all of that. First thing, though, I want to go back to a comment you made in our first interview. You mentioned about number 9 being a very significant number for you. Why is number 9 important? What does that mean for you?
For me, number 9 represents a lot of things from my birthday. I was born on 9/9, but then also just the ending of the number cycle. So the numbers are what? 0 to 9. 10 is a combination of 1 and 0. 11 is 1 and 1, and so on. So the number 9 for me represents the end of cycles and the chapters that are closing. And I've recognized different phases in my life. For a long time, I've tried to hold on to a lot of the phases. And I'm recognizing that number 9 symbolizes, okay, let's open up that next chapter. Let's open up that next book. Let's see what life has to offer behind that next door. And I explained about all of my experiences that I've had from middle school to high school to college. And each of those were new chapters that were starting in my life. So that's what the number 9 means to me. But then as far as basketball, Rondo was my favorite player. He was wearing that number 9. So it's always been a significant number for me throughout my life and throughout my phases.
Thanks for sharing. We all have those numbers. Number 9 was really important to you, and this is a new beginning. This is like a new chapter in your life, and so very, very excited for you and all that is to come. Let's rewind back and talk about these programs and how we solve problems. We see a problem, we find a solution. And for us growing up playing sports, you play ball growing up, I play ball growing up. It sport is usually the first place where we see the problem. So tell us about the problem that you saw and how it led you to being Coach Kyah.
So I've been able to be a part of a lot of programs. And I think through experiences that I've been a part of, I recognize, okay, I see that something can change here, or I see that I can impact something this way. And something that I recognize, my younger sister was playing basketball, I think in like 6th grade or so. And I recognized the young girls on her team. You know how it is in middle school. You're kind of just getting your foot in when you're first playing basketball. It was her first year ever playing. And I think of a lot of the other girls' first years playing too. And I recognized how, like, after a loss or after like a turnover, they would be like super high emotionally. And I'm like, wait, who's like bringing them back to their center? I recognized they only had one coach at the time. It was an older guy, one of the parents of the young ladies that was playing on the team. And they didn't have a second coach. I've historically seen teams with two coaches where if one coach is standing up coaching throughout the game, the other coach is getting the bench together, right? And they didn't have that person getting that bench together. So I volunteered. I reached out to the coach at the time and I'm like, hey, can I come in? Can I help out? How can I be of assistance to the team? I recognize this. There's not a elder lady on the team to help coach. Like I would love to be that person for them, but also for my younger sister at the time too. And I was able to come in. I got in on some games. I went to some practices, helped kind of organize some things, and also just be that grounding center for the young ladies at the time. I was helping them to channel their emotions on the court. You can't see when you're crying. You can't dribble and look ahead of you when you got tears in your eyes, right? So I'm like, okay, let's come back together. Let's take a deep breath. I'm breathing exercises, like I'm getting everybody back together. And I think it was a moment for me to be impactful to that team, but also be that person who I had. I had people like you and Coach Winokur when I was in middle school. We had women coaches, and y'all were able to be our grounding center. So I'm like, I want to be that for those young ladies. How can I come in and support them? And it was a fun experience. I think I stayed for about 2 seasons. And at the time, I'm like, I'm in college. I was a community college at the time. So I was commuting back and forth to school. I was still at home. I'm like, I can help out with this. I'm here anyway. So why not? And so I recognized opportunity and the opportunity to impact others. And I'm like, yes, let's do it.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you saw that they needed help. So you reached out. That's the first step.
Yep.
Reach out to who's ever in leadership and say, how can I help?
Hmm.
And here's how I think I can help from what I've seen. So
Yep.
that's part one. So if you are thinking about running a program, just reach out and have a conversation first. Part one. Part two is think about what the needs are. So you know ahead of time what they need because what you've seen, and think about the experiences that you've had and how your experience can help. Reach out to the person, think about the needs, be clear about the needs, and then communicate how you can help. All that seems pretty simple.
Exactly.
But
And
this,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's when you're hopping in to help a program or a situation that already exists.
Hmm.
I want to hear about something that you've created. You
Yeah.
mentioned a program in college that you created.
Yeah, I was gonna say the coaching piece was kind of on a small scale for me. It was the early phases of identifying gaps in organizations and figuring out how I can fill them, right? But on a larger scale, this was after I transitioned from community college. I got to my college campus. Missouri S&T is historically known as a predominantly male school, predominantly male and white. And when I got there, I was the young girl with locks on campus. I had red hair at the time too. My locks were fire truck red. And I'm like, okay, it's not that many of us on campus. I had my roommates, and my roommates were my closest people. We were also young Black girls. I had two other roommates who were Black girls. We kind of got lucky, especially on a campus like S&T. And we realized we want to host some stuff to bring our girls together. There aren't spaces for young Black women. There aren't spaces for many women on campus in general. I think there was one other main organization that was for women engineers, or if you were on a sorority group, like that is ways that women connected on the campus. But we realized, okay, something doesn't exist, let's create it. It started off very small. Me and my roommate, we were like, let's host a dinner or something. Let's bring all the girls together in our dorm room, in our campus apartment to just have everybody together. And it started off small. I think it was a handful of us. We went to like our main lounge area of our apartment complex, and all the Black girls came. We were kicking it. We played Uno. We were eating good. We were able to build community because we recognized we did not have that space that was structured for us to do it. You would see people on campus, maybe there are one or two friends walking around, or maybe just this one Black girl by herself. You'd always see a single Black girl on campus a lot. And so us being roommates, we were like, we have something special and we got lucky. So let's create it and make it bigger for everybody else. I was a co-founder and one of the original creators of Black Gems. And at the time, Black Gems was an idea that our elder classmates had who had previously graduated and became alumni that didn't get a chance to really bring it up and get it off the ground. So when me and my roommate together already had the idea to bring girls together and they already had the concept of a potential organization, we kind of joined forces and were able to create Black Gems. So Black Gems was just a space for young Black girls to develop professionally, create community, and really be involved on campus and have a safe space. That was our biggest piece. We wanted to create a safe space for young Black women. And Black Gems started off very small, but it has continuously been held on to this year. I think we're about 3 or 4 years strong. I haven't been on campus in a while, but I know that the program is definitely still running.
That is beautiful to have a program that's still going, and you saw two things. One, there was a need, but you also saw what you had. A lot of times we think about, I'm going to do something that I don't have. I need to fill this gap because it doesn't exist for me. But what I think is really powerful that you and your roommates did, you said, we have something special. How can we ensure that other people have this same special community, other young Black women on our campus? Let's create something bigger than us
Yep.
that will continue to last. That's beautiful. Kyah, I want you to dive into the structure. You
Yeah.
piloted. So if you are listening and you're thinking about starting something, the very first thing Kyah said was, we decided to have a dinner. Like, we were just going to try it out to see if people would even want to do it. So you didn't have this big plan and this big vision. The first step, we see a need. Let's try something.
Try
Let's
it.
talk about from that dinner, how did you put structure around it enough so that it's still existing 3 years after you graduated?
Yes, that was one of the main things we wanted was not only to start something in habit, but once we realized that it could be structured, how we're going to keep it going. So it started off with a few of our sessions being unofficial, right? We would host them in our apartment, but the campus didn't have any policies or guidelines around it. It was just us doing our thing. But then we realized let's bring it to the bigger scale, which is where we joined forces with the alumni ladies who already had some type of framework going, but didn't have it official. So at the time, we knew that we're doing this, but if we're going to make it bigger, we need more people. So me and my roommate, who's now my best friend, we start to think about, okay, who are the young Black ladies we're close to who are one, not only doing great in their classes, but people know them. And we created a organization like a leadership board. We knew we needed president, vice president, secretary to control the finances. We needed an events coordinator. So we recognized what roles we needed to fill and then decided to reach out and leverage our network and ask people would they want to be a part of it. For us, we knew we couldn't do it alone. And we've seen chapters that, could have just a president or vice president. But for longevity purposes, we need people in the seats who are just as passionate as us. So we recognized what roles we needed. We went out and asked people would they want to be a part of the organization. And luckily, people were excited to join. I think that's one of the main pieces when starting to build something is you're able to get it started on your own, yes, but when you want to scale, you need a team. You can't do it by yourself. And we were able to figure out who those team members were, who we knew were trusted and would deliver on, their roles that they had to keep the organization going.
Well, that's so good. That's so good. I didn't realize that y'all built out roles. That is phenomenal.
When I say we built the roles, we had to have the mission statement written. We had to have, I think it was considered a declaration of some sort. We had to have like real paperwork in place because prior to it being a recognized student organization, it was simply a group, right? But in order to become recognized on campus and for the campus to allow funding to come through the group, allow different promotions, and advertisements, we had to make sure it aligned with their policies and their guidelines. And it was a battle. We had to get through some paperwork, and it was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of late nights trying to make sure our budget was set and that all of our events are planned out for the year. But once we got over that initial hump of becoming recognized, it was smooth sailing from there. It was just a matter of making sure we budgeted things correctly and used our money wisely and then hosted the events that we wanted to see happen.
Okay, I want to rewind a little bit to you tried something out, then you
Mm.
found out what it took to become official. So
Yeah.
you had to gain interest. You knew that you needed more people involved. And then you said, okay, well, how do we make this thing official? And then you found a model that worked, which allowed you to have more access to resources. That's a very, very big deal. How often did you all have events?
hmm
Share that, like what you figured out the structure that was needed, and then what did your structure look like?
So after we identified this structure and we became recognized, we laid out our calendar to host, I believe we were doing one event a month, but the events were tailored to the climate of campus. So we got, I think, our recognized, I can't remember the timeline specifically. This is back in, I think, 2021 maybe. So about 3 or 4 years ago. But when we got organized, I believe it happened in the fall when we got recognized. And once we got recognized, we were given a pot of funding. And we wanted to host events around like study break sessions to where we would bring students on campus around midterm season to do a study hall together. We would have, snacks and music going and different opportunities to connect with each other on our courses that we were studying for. And then in the fall, we wanted to also do a Friendsgiving. So we did a potluck and was able to have a bunch of people bring different dishes in. And that was like our staple. We were like, we're going to do a Friendsgiving every year. And that's our staple event for the fall. That's our big one. And so we started to craft that out. And we knew that the amount of course load that we had was heavy and that our academics came first. So we were making sure that doing one event a month was actually sustainable. So my best friend at the time, who was the president, she was studying to become an engineer. And engineers' workload is very heavy, especially at Missouri S&T, one of the top engineering schools in the state. And I knew for her, okay, I want you to make sure like your classes are good regardless. I can help pick up where I can, and the rest of our board was happy to pick up where they could too. But as far as the things that we needed to do once we became structured, it was a lot of budgeting, a lot of financial budgeting. We had to sit down together and identify what processes the school already had in place that we needed to now follow. So they had specific platforms that the student organizations will use. We had to make sure we were registered on those platforms. We had to make sure we submitted our documents on time. Deadlines were huge when it came to us being official. Prior to being official, we could do whatever we want, whenever we want,
Mhm.
right? But once you get official and there are deadlines, you don't want to miss those type of things because you'll not get funding or you'll not get considered for certain opportunities. And so we had to really align with like the student officers. So there were like our student success center, making sure we were aligned with them on different deadlines that they have for submitting documents and making sure that we were good. But once we figured out what the big group needed, we were able to pretty much relay that to our team and meet those deadlines. Even if it meant us staying up late to get it in, we were
Yes.
determined to make sure we were not dismantled as a group because it took us so much to get this far of becoming official.
That's beautiful. It sounds like all of the work that y'all put in was definitely worth it because it's still going on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now you get to mentor the young women who are part of it and see how their ideas help create the next evolution of the program. So that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if you are interested, if you're on campus, if you're a college
yes,
student and you have an idea for an organization and you and your friends are already kind of gathering and doing great work, figure out how to make it official so that
yeah,
it can have a legacy beyond you all. Figure out what other team members you need to bring on to make it something that's sustainable. And that's huge. That's a really very big deal. So
yeah.
congrats on that. I didn't know that
And it won't be
until now.
easy in the beginning. I'm being just honest right now. The processes of having to, navigate influences that are technically external to you and your person that are building it, it can be a lot. But I definitely encourage you, if you have a vision and something that you want to bring to life on your campus, go after it. Find some people that are also passionate about it and do it together. You can't go alone. You can, but doing it in a community and with others makes it worthwhile. It's something that you can forever talk about. Me and my best friend talk about these
Yeah.
conversations all the time on the phone with Black Gems. And we see the Instagram stories of young people who are in it today, and they might not even know that we're a part of it or that we were the founding, fathers of it, but they're a part of it and they're keeping it going. And I love to see it. So
Yeah.
it's real lit.
It is. That's really beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So I'm really proud of you for that. And so much of it comes from sport. You get to see how teams operate. You get to see what different roles exist. And you know that in order for the team to move effectively, every role needs to be filled and
Yep.
hopefully with someone who's capable of doing the job well. And y'all figured that part out. So
Uh,
congrats on that. So I want to share a little bit about a few programs
yes.
that I've created, which we were talking about a little bit before this. And Kyah, feel free to nudge and dig a little deeper on any of the programs. What the most important program that I can say that I started It's actually a ball and a chance. It's ironic that we're here because a ball and a chance started about 20 years ago. It started as a project when I was in graduate school at St. Louis University. I was working on a master's in communication, and we had to do a project. I took a course on team building and teamwork. It was communicating within a team. And I created this mentoring program. It was a one-day event. It didn't have the structure and longevity like Kyah's had. However, mentoring has always and continues to be a part of my life, which I'll get into a little bit later. So, A Ball and a Chance was this one-day event with the young ladies at Metro High School, where I was coaching high school basketball, and the young women who were college athletes with St. Louis University women's basketball, where I played college basketball. And it was held at Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club, the Boys and Girls Club where I grew up playing. So it was a Saturday morning, and the women's basketball players who were in college did drills with the girls. They talked about their experience in college. The head coach at the time was Shimmy Gray Miller, who is still coaching college basketball. She came over and talked to the girls. She was like our keynote speaker, and she came over and talked to the girls from the high school, and it was just a really powerful event. They did activities, and it was a group project. So I convinced the people in my teamwork communication class to come and be a part of it as well. So we'd had this group project, but it was all about mentoring young women and older women who are in college helping young women. So that was the first A Ball and a Chance event. And here we are 20 years later with this podcast. So that was part one, the first iteration of A Ball and a Chance.
Mhm.
So Kyah, your Black Gems, who knows 20 years from now what that's going to look like?
Who knows? What did it take to really get that off the ground as far as, getting your teammates as far as your classroom in on that mentoring process? Because a lot of times I think people forget that you kind of got to influence people and make them want to be a part of your passion sometimes and see the bigger picture. So what did that look like for you?
Here's what I learned. If you're willing to do most of the work, people are willing to be a part of it. Because,
True.
but to your point, your passion starts with you saying, I believe so much in this that I'm going to give all of me, and I will make it really easy for you to help. Like, I need your help, but I'm going to make it easy for you to help and say yes because I've already laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
And it's the energy behind it. I think your track record matters. So we're talking about trust.
Mm-hmm.
I played ball, I'd coached, I was already coaching. The relationships were already there. So actually putting the program together simply required us having conversation around structure, and my role was the recruiting part. Like, can I recruit the coaches and the
Yep.
college athletes, and can I recruit the high school athletes? And so it's, here's the vision, here's the work I'm willing to do. So before I ever ask you to do anything, I will be crystal clear. You have to be crystal clear about what you're willing to do
Mm-hmm.
to make it happen. And then the third piece for this type of event is scheduling. And I know you had the same experience when you're thinking about events. For this type of program, you have to consider everyone's schedule
Yep.
and present multiple dates to them. So if you're creating a program, don't go and say, hey, what works for you? You say, here are some dates I'm thinking about.
Yep.
What are the best time frames? And then you go back and look at the calendars and consider everything. And then you present the different dates and times that may be a good fit
Mm-hmm.
for this program.
That's great advice. Tactical advice too. You can take those steps to apply it and see what your outcome is. But I like that. Bring in everything you already have to the forefront. I've already worked on this. The trust is there. The track record is there. Is this something that you want to be bought into? Do you want to join me? But I like that. Starting off, you already have done it. So it's just a matter of seeing who else wants to join you. That's great advice.
Exactly. And you did the same with the dinner. We've done dinners. We know there's a need. We've done surveys. For some people, maybe getting survey data is important. We've talked to 20 people, and 19 out of 20 said that there's a need for this program. So that really helps you sell if you can have some data around that. I had the data. The Women Sports Foundation has tremendous data about the importance and significance of mentors for young women in sport. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was a part of the write-up that we had to the research paper, not the research paper, but the project paper
Yeah.
was you have to show a need for this project that we're doing. And so I pulled on the Women's Sports Foundation for tons of data that supported why we needed this mentoring program.
I like
So
that.
and so the event went great. The young women were inspired, and it gave them a vision of what was possible. And then obviously all college athletes have some level of requirement for community service and responsibility toward that. So that was the first A Ball and a Chance event ever, 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 ever.
20 years
10
ago.
years.
Wow.
Yes, that
Go
was 20
figure.
years ago. Then 10 years later, the Missouri History Museum in St. Louis, Missouri had this exhibit around sports. And I knew the director there at the time. And I said, I have this idea. I would like to do a 3-part series where we interview athletes where I moderate a panel of former college athletes about their experience in different sports. So we did women's basketball, men's basketball, and football. And so there were friends who I knew. And this was cool. So the first event, I want you to think partnerships. So the first event, there was a 4-part partnership.
Yeah.
The partnership was between Matthews Dickey Boys and Girls Club, Metro High School, St. Louis University Women's Basketball, and then our communication class. Each part of that partnership had a role to play. So when you're building out your program, think about what the roles are that each partner will play that helps get to the end goal. For the series at the Missouri History Museum, it was a little different because it was 3 consecutive weeks. The first partnership was the Missouri History Museum, and they had specific needs. So I'll give you an example. They had their own graphic designer that made the flyer. I couldn't make the flyer with their branding on it. They were not having it.
They got an
And
internal person for that.
yes, they had their own people. The one we did with the school, we just made it up.
Yeah.
But they wanted their flyer a certain way. And I will never forget, I kept changing what I wanted the description to be.
Yeah.
I was like, no, make it say this. Oh, no, I wanted to say that. This is before ChatGPT could have helped me. So this is 10 years ago. And I will never forget the director said, look, we can't keep changing this. Like, we have a graphics person and it is using our resources unnecessarily. Basically, he said, stop asking me to change this. Leave it alone so we can get this program
Get
going.
on with it.
Exactly. So that was a really amazing program. We invited people out. It was free and open to the public. All of some of my friends and former teammates were on panels. And it was really powerful. It was a community-based event, whereas the first event was specifically for these organizations.
Right.
So that event was a little different.
Was it also still titled A Ball and a Chance as well?
Yes, I have the flyer. I looked at the flyer today. It is
Wow.
titled A Ball and a Chance. A Ball and a Chance been in my spirit for years. We've been running this thing. What I learned, so that's 10 years ago. What I learned from that is there's some things that just never leave you. And the only mistake I made that I know now that I didn't know then is that I just didn't keep doing it. But because it has lived in me and it has been my purpose, I just keep doing it. But there won't be another 10-year gap. Like, I get the message now. Like, I'm clear. A Ball and a Chance lives on, which is why this podcast is A Ball and a Chance. And Kyah, thank you. I thought about having a different name. Kyah was like,
No.
Miss Angie, no. We're going to need to keep this A Ball and a Chance. The book is A Ball and a Chance.
Yeah.
There's a global tour happening called A Ball and a Chance.
And to hear the first event was A Ball and a Chance is, yes, it's only right to keep the name the name.
The name is the name. The name's going to be the name. I have the domain name already, so don't go out there trying to get the domain name. So that was the second. And this is the third and fourth with the podcast, which is very much still mentoring. And then the book, A Ball and a Chance, the children's book, which depending on when you listen to this may already be out, but will be out definitely before March Madness. So very excited.
I'm excited too. It's a beautiful book. I'm excited for it. I think the world needs something like this, especially for a young girl like me who loves all things basketball. Yeah. Y'all are in for a treat. Just on the lookout for the day and make sure you get it when it's out.
The key line in the book, I'll say this in every episode to make sure you don't miss it. It's new as hard as possible. With courage and heart, you'll be unstoppable. That is what I want for our young people, especially young women, to know that you can be unstoppable with courage and heart. So in A Ball and a Chance, we talk about that. a lot in the book. So whatever your program ideas are, as we begin to wrap, whatever program ideas that you have, test them first. Just do it. Just go coach with the team, have the dinners with the group, ask people, is there a need? When you know there's a need, you have a need that you can fulfill. It doesn't matter. You don't have to lead an organization. You don't need permission. You don't need a title. No one told Kyah to create this. No one told me, hey, you should create a miss. No, you just you feel the needs, you feel the gaps, and the ripple effect of that, the legacy of that is beyond what you could possibly know.
Mhm.
So, Kyah,
Yeah.
let's bring this back to basketball because we love basketball over here. Tell me about something you've learned from watching the game and being a part of the game that helps to continue to move you forward.
Mm. For me, it's realizing that you can't do it alone.
Yes.
Goes back to what I said earlier, finding those people who are passionate with you and moving forward, but also having your passions and acting on it first. You need a team, you need a starting five and a sub. You really need that set as well as a coach to really make sure the team is guided. And I see that in everything leadership. And we're going to get into that more in other episodes, but I would love to leave y'all with this. Start on your own, but bring a team with you to scale up and make it bigger than you. So, yeah.
Oh, Kyah, that is so good. Because if you start with other people, your vision doesn't you don't start with your vision. You have to take other people's thoughts into consideration. You have to do some work first before
Yep.
asking other people to be a part of it. See, that's why you hear Kyah. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Kyah, if
Thank you.
people want to reach out to you, if they want to learn about Black gyms, if they
Yes.
want to learn how to start a program on campus, how can they reach you?
Reach me on LinkedIn, Kyah Donald. My last name is Donald, Donald. First name Kyah, Kyah. I post about all of the things I'm doing in my community, the things that I'm doing in my corporate spaces as well. But if you need any help, if you need support, if you have questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will get back to you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Reach out to Kyah. She is dynamic. If you have questions as well about A Ball and a Chance, if you want to start A Ball and a Chance program, a mentoring program, if you want A Ball and a Chance community, I have all the resources. I have the trainings. I have the program, structure and guidelines. You can
Yep.
start A Ball and a Chance group with your team or in your community. So reach out to me on LinkedIn, Angela R. Lewis, like rebound, or my website, angelarlewis.com. I would love to connect with you and give more little girls a ball and a chance. Thanks. See y'all next time.